This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM. Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Got a jam-packed show coming your way today. Some NFL items that I want to touch on. Yes, I'm feeling good about my New York Yankees. They're going to the World Series, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all don't want to hear that in Houston, but damn it, I'm thinking they're going to the World Series. I know that the Houston Astros got the bomb squad in their rotation, their starting rotation, but their bullpen is suspect. And I don't believe their bats will be nearly as productive as they were last season. And I fully expect the Bronx Bombers showing up when it counts, knocking off Boston, knocking off the Astros and anybody else in the National League to win the World Series. I just wanted to get that out there because it's summertime. And obviously it's just the ideal time for America's national pastime. There is no basketball, there is no football being played, and outside of the big three, of course. And the bottom line is, I just wanted to make sure I got that off my chest. Having said all of that, I got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. NBA free agency is still going on. Summer League's going to start tomorrow in Vegas. I'll be there. Today, I'm sorry. I'll be there. Not to mention the fact that there's some rumors and murmurs and rumblings about Lonzo Ball. How long is he for the Los Angeles Lakers? Etc., etc. We'll be talking about all of that because we heard LeVar Ball open his mouth yet again. We'll be talking about all of that and then some in the days to come, and in the hours to come, and in the minutes to come. We will be talking about that. But let me get right to it. Some news percolating out of the New York Knicks and out of the Los Angeles Lakers. It's relevant to both franchises. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some news. Let me say this. I've been doing my homework, been on the phones. Been out here in L.A. over the last couple of days meeting with some people, heading to Vegas to meet with some more people. Let me tell you what's going on. You've heard the name Damian Lillard. Everybody's making rumblings about Damian Lillard and how he tweeted. You know, somebody asked him, would he be happy in L.A.? And he says, I'm happy anywhere. Well, he's not lying. It's absolutely positively valid, okay? Because the reality is that Damian Lillard, with his contract paying him over $25 million a year, with the endorsement dollars that he's able to generate, Damian Lillard is pulling in over $45 million a year living in Portland. This brother is chilling. There is no doubt about that. But I got news for you. It is entirely possible and very, very real that Damian Lillard could end up a Los Angeles Laker or a New York Knick. Yes, I said that last part, even a New York Knick. Yes, it's true. Allow me to enlighten you about what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, over the last few days or so. Damian Lillard does not want to leave Portland. He is happy in Portland. He is happy playing in the Pacific Northwest. He's not advocating to leave Portland, nor are the Portland Trailblazers interested in moving him. They want to keep him. Here's the problem. Being happy in Portland is no longer a priority for Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard wants to be in a situation where he has a chance to compete. And the Portland Trailblazers, who have been to the playoffs the last 5 years, but has been bounced out in the first round 3 of those 5 years, including the last 2, have run into a problem. And here is the problem the Portland Trailblazers have run into. No one wants to come play for them. Kevin Love would love to come play with Damian Lillard. Jimmy Butler would love to play with Damian Lillard, along with a host of other players in the National Basketball Association. Why? Because he's big time. That's why, regardless of what happened with him against Drew Holiday and the New Orleans Pelicans. Damian Lillard is big time. He's an all-star. He's a big-time shot maker. He doesn't crack under pressure. Pressure doesn't faze him. Double and triple teams faze him. But he doesn't get fazed by big moments. He's scheduled to get paid $27.9 million this year, $29.8 million next season, $31.6 million the year after that. Guaranteed, no opt-out. But if the Portland Trailblazers can't improve their team, which they won't be able to because nobody's interested in coming to play for the Portland Trailblazers, they're going to have to make a decision. Because everybody understands that Damian Lillard along with CJ McCollum is not enough to get this team over the hump. Chances are you need to trade one of them in order to get a bunch of supplementary parts to improve the roster, thereby elevating one or the other as a primary offensive option in the face of the franchise and going from there. The combination of those two, making the money that they make, essentially, with you having to take care of Nurkic, by the way, essentially limits you to some degree. Mo Harkless is locked in at 10 and 11 million over the next 2 years, respectively. Evan Turner is locked in at 17 and 18 million over the next 2 years, respectively. Myers Leonard is locked in at over 10 and 11 million over the next 2 years, respectively. And you got to take care of Nurkic. And this is the team you had last year, which wasn't good enough to get out of the first round. They got swept by Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday and the New Orleans Pelicans. So even though they've made the playoffs the last 5 years, they're clearly not an elite team. Even as the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, they are clearly not an elite team that's going to make any noise in the postseason. Portland recognizes this. And as a result, you've got people in Damian Lillard's camp and on his side looking for him to leave, and he is open to leaving, even though he loves being in Portland. Now, you would say, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers are a gimme because paying Damian Lillard with LeBron James, I mean, who the hell would turn that down? Well, here's the question for Laker fans out there. Who do you want more, Kawhi Leonard or Damian Lillard? Because chances are, if you are the Los Angeles Lakers, you're going to have to make a choice. Because if I'm the Portland Trailblazers, even if Magic Johnson tells me Kyle Kuzma is off limits, but I can have Ingram, and I could even have Lonzo Ball, and I could have Josh Hart, and I could have a first-round pick, I'm going to listen to that call. If I'm the New York Knicks, and what I'm offering is the opportunity to pair Damian Lillard with Kristaps Porzingis, guess why that's so important to me? Because now I can get Jimmy Butler in 2019. Kevin Love might find a way to get to New York eventually, along with various others. See, for Damian Lillard, from what I'm being told, it's not about being in Portland. It's about the reality that the franchise may not be able to get any additional help because nobody wants to come and play in Portland. If Portland doesn't pull off a trade or grab somebody in a draft, Portland's not improving their team because no free agent wants to go to Portland. That's your problem. That's the problem that the Portland Trailblazers are trying to overcome. And if Damian Lillard is going to leave the comfortable and financially beneficial confines of Portland, it's only for 2 places from what I'm being told. He's only interested in New York or L.A. One of the two. New York or L.A., and by L.A. I mean the Lakers, not the Clippers. That's what Damian Lillard wants. His preference would be for the Portland Trailblazers to find somebody big time to join him and C.J. McCollum in Portland. That's Damian Lillard's preference. But if they can't improve the team and they can't find anybody, then he's interested in going one or 2 places. My sources tell me it's the Lakers or the Knicks. It ain't the Clippers. It ain't the Nets. It's the Lakers or it's the Knicks. So if you are the Lakers and Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, you got a decision to make. Do you continue to pursue Kawhi Leonard or do you ignore him, go after Damian Lillard in a trade and say, Kawhi, we'll be waiting for you come the summer of 2019. You either do that or you pursue a trade for Kawhi Leonard right now. That's one choice. If you're the Knicks, well, my God. I mean, what do you have to offer? That's what concerns me about the New York Knicks. I'm just trying to think right here. I don't know what it is that they have to offer, ladies and gentlemen. Porzingis is not for sale, plus he's injured. I mean, I don't know if you can get it. I don't know if you can give away Joakim Noah, who's making $18.5 million this year and $19.2 million next year. Tim Hardaway Jr.'s contract you could throw there, but you got C.J. McCollum in Portland already, so I don't know if you'd want that. Courtney Lee's at 12-12 over the next 2 years. I don't know how badly you'd want that because he's essentially a two-guard himself. Nobody really cares about Lance Thomas making $7 million a year. My God, welcome to America. Emmanuel Mudiay, his stock has dropped, but I guess you could throw him into a deal at $4 million this year and $5.7 million next year. Frank Ntilikina, go ahead and give him away if you want. But we're talking about Damian Lillard here. So I don't know what the New York Knicks have to offer. I guess either Courtney Lee or Tim Hardaway Jr. would have to be included in the deal. You'd have to throw Emmanuel Mudiay up in there and Ntilikina, so you'd give them 2 point guards, but that ain't enough. That's all the New York Knicks essentially have to give. And picks. If you're Portland, you'll want a future first-round pick. And even that's not going to be enough. So I would tell you that the Los Angeles Lakers are the team with the edge. That's the team that's in position to make something happen. Which makes it very, very interesting because now Magic Johnson and them have a decision to make. I'm going to repeat myself again. Damian Lillard, although his preference would be to stay in Portland, is of the belief that if the Portland Trailblazers cannot improve this team, he will want out. But only the two teams, the Lakers or the Knicks. And as far as I'm concerned, the Lakers have the edge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still telling you Kyle Kuzma's untouchable. I'm not moving him. I'm not moving him even for Kawhi Leonard. I'm not giving up Kyle Kuzma. I'm not doing it. The kid's young. He's got promise. He's not scared to take big shots. He's got a perimeter shot. He's got good size on him. And under the tutelage of LeBron James, he's only going to get better. I'm not letting go of Kyle Kuzma. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Outside of him, if I'm the Lakers, for Kawhi Leonard, I'd give up Ingram, Hart, and a pick. And a first-round pick. I'd do that. I'd even entertain giving up 2 picks. Because if I'm the Lakers and I expect to be good and gifted and in the postseason, I think I can afford to surrender those picks over the next 2 years. Because I'm going to be in a playoff picture over the next 2 years. Which means my picks are going to be in the lower 20s. And I think I'd be able to afford to surrender 2 of those picks for Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to. I'm not inclined to. I'd push hard to make sure it's Ingram, Hart, and a pick. But outside of that, if I had to give up 2 picks to keep Kuzma and acquire Kawhi, I would do that. If I had to. If I had to. What about you? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Another story pertaining to this one to some degree. If you're Portland and you make a deal with L.A., if it's not Kuzma, it's definitely Ingram. And in all likelihood, it would probably be Lonzo Ball. Now, LeVar Ball, the daddy of Lonzo Ball, has made news yet again. Not causing trouble, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just answering a question. Okay? Bottom line is this. I want to repeat this. I happen to like LeVar Ball. I really, really do. And I think that he's done a magnificent job of marketing and promoting his son. I really do. LeVar Ball has made Lonzo Ball a household name. LeVar Ball essentially has made Lonzo a Laker. In my opinion, if LeVar Ball did not open his mouth and bloviate about Lonzo Ball the way that he did, I believe the Lakers would have drafted Jason Tatum. Because Lonzo Ball would not have been under the microscope at UCLA to that degree. As a result, he would not have been box office for the Lakers, and Magic and Pelinka would not have been compelled to take Lonzo. I think they would have taken Jason Tatum. I really, really do. That's just my personal opinion. I believe they would have taken Jason Tatum. But because they didn't do that, and as a result, because it's really, really about LeVar and Lonzo. Let's take this into consideration right now because the Lakers needed to make some money. Now that you have LeBron James in town, Lonzo Ball's relevance, box office wise, is officially irrelevant. It does not matter now. He has no impact on the marketing or monetary cachet of the Los Angeles Lakers now. That went right out the window. That went right out the window the second LeBron James arrived. So now that we know that, and LeBron James is in town, you can afford to lose Lonzo. I'm not advocating that you do that. I'm not saying that Lonzo Ball should be gone. But I will tell you this. I'll absolutely change my mind on that if the Portland Trailblazers said, we want Lonzo in a Damian Lillard deal. Oh, absolutely. I'd do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't hesitate. Not even a little bit. Keep in mind, all of this noise about LeVar Ball's mouth and all that stuff, that's irrelevant. He has every right to bloviate about his son. As long as he's not insulting Coach Luke Walton or the Lakers organization, giving inside information as to what players might feel about their coach and stuff like he did with Luke Walton last year. As long as he's not doing something like that, I have no problem with LeVar Ball's mouth. He's perfectly entitled to bloviate about his son. He's perfectly entitled to do that. But I will tell you right now, if you have an opportunity to get Damian Lillard and you have to give up Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and a pick, you do it. Because for LeBron James to have a big shot like Damian Lillard on his squad, ladies and gentlemen, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. Matter of fact, New Yorkers fantasize about Porzingis out there with Damian Lillard. Y'all giving me all this noise about Frank Ntilikina. You better stop your nonsense. Ntilikina is not bad, and I'm going to trust Steve Mills and those boys talking about him, having the size, the arm length, wingspan, etc. I'm going to sit up there and tell you that this kid Ntilikina can defend. I'll say that. I'll get that. He can defend. I'm not going to say he can't. All I'm saying to you is that for me, not enough. In this day and age, the way the rules are, you got to be able to put the ball in the hole, man. You got to be a guard. If you're a guard and you can't put the ball in the hole, I'm not feeling you. I mean, no disrespect. I'm not feeling you if you can't put the ball in the hole. I'm just not. That's just me. That's just how I feel about it. Having said all of that, let me be very, very clear about where I stand. I'm going to repeat myself again. If the Lakers have to trade Lonzo Ball to get their hands on Damian Lillard, you do that quicker than you could say magic. You do it. If you're the New York Knicks and you have a chance to get Damian Lillard, anybody but Porzingis is open for business. I don't give a damn who it is. Give it to him. Give it to him. I don't care if it's Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., Frank Ntilikina. I don't give a damn if it's everybody. Plus a bag of chips and pretzels, plus a chauffeur or masseuse, giving them weekly or daily massages and pedicures. I don't give a damn what you got to do. You do it for Damian Lillard. Because Damian Lillard at Madison Square Garden is special. With Porzingis, special. With the and don't make no mistake, it elevates the chances of getting a marquee free agent next summer. You do it without hesitation. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm telling you right now, I believe, from what I'm being told, they got a shot at Damian Lillard because he wants to be there if Portland can't improve this team. And I believe that the Lakers have the assets that that Portland would have to entertain. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage of America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We'll continue talking about this. Should the Lakers kill talks over Kawhi Leonard, pursue Damian Lillard, and say, Kawhi Leonard, we'll see you next summer? Or should they pursue Kawhi Leonard now and ignore Damian Lillard? And if you are the Knicks, what could you possibly come up with to offer the Portland Trailblazers for Damian Lillard? Those are the two questions on the books right now.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Both LeVar Ball and Jeff Van Gundy made news over the last 24 hours or so. LeVar Ball was speaking about his son, and of course LeBron James joining his Los Angeles Lakers. And I'll get into that in a second. But for the moment, I wanted you to hear Jeff Van Gundy was on the show Get Up on ESPN this morning. And he had a few things to say. But listen to what he said about the possibility of the Lakers actually making the playoffs. It wasn't a question in our minds. I mean, I automatically look at the Lakers as a playoff team. But listen to what Jeff Van Gundy thinks about them. Listen to this.
The West is so good. I don't think it's a given they make the playoffs.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I think the West, listen, that Western Conference is something as far as a lot of great, two great teams in Houston and Golden State, and then a lot of really good teams that have some continuity, that have, people, Denver didn't make it last year. Like, I think they're really good. Minnesota, if they didn't lose Butler the last 20 games of the year, they were a third seed at one point. So that's your 8 and 9 teams. I mean, it's going to be hard out in the Western Conference to make a significant jump. And I just think we assume that James by himself puts him in that type of rare air right behind the Warriors and Golden State. And I'm not sure that's going to happen because I don't see a great fit right now. Maybe James is so great it doesn't matter.
I got to respectfully disagree with Jeff Van Gundy here. The Los Angeles Lakers won 35 games last season. There is no doubt that LeBron James is good for 10 to 15 games during a regular season. Just because of his physical prowess, his incredible conditioning, his basketball savant stature, along with, him just being an incredible player, I think that LeBron James is good for a 48 to 50 win season, no matter what conference he's in. Because on many, many nights during a regular season, plenty of teams take days off. And I definitely think that's the case where LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers are concerned. I don't think there's any question about that at all. So barring a catastrophic injury to LeBron James, I will say it is a foregone conclusion that a man that has been to 8 straight NBA finals will get you to the playoffs. But Jeff Van Gundy didn't stop there. By the way, I was wrong. He was not on Get Up. He was on Golick and Wingo's radio show on ESPN Radio. My apologies to that. He also spoke about Boogie Cousins being on the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you remember, Jeff Van Gundy made the basketball world laugh during last season when he said the Golden State Warriors are so dominant. When they talked about him going up against the Cavs, he said they're going to beat him in 3. It's a best 4-7. He said they're going to beat him in 3. Okay, that's how much of a sure bet it was that Golden State was going to win this championship. Now Boogie Cousins is a member of this championship squad. But listen to what Jeff Van Gundy had to say about Boogie Cousins joining the Golden State Warriors.
That's good for the Warriors. Maybe good for Cousins, too. I'm not sure. But it was the Durant move that, totally took this league in a different direction. And yet this year, they were down against Houston 3-2, down at halftime in both games 6 and 7. So, we all might be a little bit overreacting.
Maybe so. I mean, I said that the other day. Listen, I know Boogie Cousins can ball. I know Boogie Cousins is a big-time baller. Last year, he averaged 25, 13, and 5 before going down with the Achilles. And it's no knock against Boogie Cousins. I saw him on social media being a bit sensitive, as always. But the reality is that nobody's questioning his skill. We're simply saying it's an Achilles. It's an Achilles tear. Nobody that we can think of outside of Adrian Peterson came back a year later and damn near looked just like themselves. It just doesn't happen with the Achilles. It's a devastating injury. So I'm only saying that to say it's not beyond the pale to look at him and say, you know what? Boogie Cousins arriving in Golden State is not that big of a deal. Can we see him play first? Jeff Van Gundy had some other things to say on Golic and Wingo, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on in the show. But I kind of disagree with him on this point I definitely disagree with him on this point about LeBron and the Lakers making the playoffs, whereas I agree with him about Boogie Cousins. Back to LeVar Ball. He had something to say about LeBron James joining his son's Lakers, Lonzo Ball on the Lakers. Listen to what LeVar Ball had to say when being interviewed by CNN.
How come we got to worry about coexisting? He playing on the court and I'm off the court. Quit worrying about me. They did all that negativity in these field games, so that's letting you know right there. Me and LeBron to get along. He come off the court, I'm going to say, hey, LeBron, what's going on, man? Everything lines up for me, and it's so lucky that my son gets to play with his favorite player. Wait till my other boys get to come in that way. Uh-oh. You don't want LeBron and the ball boys linked up to play against Golden State, because I'll tell you what, my boys together play at a different level. Speed, baby. Speed kills. That's the only way you're going to be Golden State.
Hyperbole on the part of LeVar Ball, no doubt. Talk to me about Lonzo. Don't talk to me about your other kids because I haven't seen them play beyond high school. I don't want to hear it. Having said all of that, I will say this. He does have a point when he talks about how everybody tried to point out how he could be a problem in terms of interfering with LeBron's interest in arriving in L.A. I do believe LeVar Ball gets a bad rap at times because we surmise that his mouth would be a detriment to the Los Angeles Lakers. Fact is, that hasn't been proven. That hasn't been proven. That has not been proven. We can slice it any way we want to. That has not been proven. LeVar Ball talked. His son became a Laker, number 2 overall pick. LeVar Ball talked even about Luke Walton. Conversation ensued with Magic Johnson, but that's about all. LeVar Ball talked about LeBron. And by the way, we need to give LeVar Ball props on this. LeVar Ball has been saying since last summer LeBron James was coming to the Lakers. That is absolutely true. He absolutely said that. And he was right. He said, my son's going to be drafted by the Lakers. He was absolutely right. Hyperbole aside, LeVar Ball hasn't been wrong about much when it comes to the Lakers and his son. Those two sons, he might be wrong about his other sons in terms of how we should view them, but he has not been wrong about Lonzo, and he has not been wrong about the Lakers with what he has said would happen. It's the truth. If we're going to be fair, let's be fair. Hey, I'm the dude that he said Stephen A is fake as a $3 bill when he didn't like what I was saying. He came on First Take twice. I appreciated that. He's always been kind to me, but then evidently got mad at something I said and came at me with that comment. I don't care. I'm going to do my job. And part of my job is to be fair. And in fairness to LeVar Ball, he was right. He said Lonzo was going to be a Laker. He said LeBron James was going to be a Laker. And he said that his mouth wouldn't deter nor be a detriment to anybody becoming a Laker. And so far, he's been absolutely right. We have to be fair. And I'll go a step further. Unless you want to hold Jason Tatum not being a Laker against LeVar Ball, one could argue LeVar Ball has been more of an asset to the Los Angeles Lakers than any of us have been willing to give him credit for. I'm just saying. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. We'll continue with the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it.
By the way, hour number 2, the voice of Los Angeles, California, the columnist extraordinaire for the Los Angeles Times, the one and only Bill Plaschke, will be on the phone with yours truly. You also can see him on Around the Horn on ESPN all the time. It's my buddy. I'm looking forward for him coming on the show. He'll be on with us at the top of hour number 2. Looking forward to talking to him about a few things going on that way. Until then, let's get to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN. Rob, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., we need to do whatever we got to do to get Damian Lillard. If he's interested in coming here, we got to give up everything except Porzingis. You asked me early in the season, what is Porzingis' role in recruiting a superstar? And at the time, I didn't have an answer, but I would have to say nothing. His role is continuing to get better, stay healthy, and be a focal point of why the Knicks are winning. Mm-hmm. That's the only way we're going to get a superstar here.
Right.
And well, Damian Lillard, he belongs in the Knicks uniform. His game says New York all over it.
I got to admit to you, the Lakers have more assets to offer Portland than New York does. You do know that, right?
Oh, absolutely. If the Lakers should get rid of Lonzo, they should get rid of Hart. I would hate to see them lose Brandon Ingram after they already lost Randall, which to me was a key piece for them. I would hate to see them lose any more, but to have LeBron and Lillard and then next year Kawhi, oh man, that'd be a serious problem for Golden State.
It would be a serious problem for everybody. Ain't no question about that. I appreciate the call, Rob. Thank you so much. Let's go to David. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, David.
Stephen A., my man, I just want to say I really appreciate you, man, in your sports analytics, because you keep the fake news out of this profession and you keep a person grounded and thinking. On another note, Stephen A., why haven't we possibly considered Dwayne Wade? Because I looked at a top 25 video between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, top plays on YouTube, and their chemistry is impeccable. So he doesn't have to have
Hold on. You know me. There's very, very few people in this profession that loves Dwayne Wade more than I do. All right? I love him personally and professionally. I know him well. But let's be honest and real about something here. Number one, his stint in Cleveland was not the greatest. His relationship was so close with LeBron that it alienated a few folks on the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is why it was best for him to leave. Plus, when you talk about D. Wade, who, by the way, finished the postseason contemplating retirement, and for all we know, he still hasn't made a decision as to whether or not he's going to play next season or not. You're talking about a man that went back home to Miami after mending fences with Pat Riley because it's a place he should have never left in the first place. Wade County. You talk about South Beach, it's Wade County, bro. And so I just think that it's one of those situations. And not only that, last but not least, financially, there's nothing to consider because you can get everything and everybody and still have Dwayne Wade come with you just for, the veteran minimum. You see my point? So it's not. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it would be his call, along with Magic and LeBron and those boys. You see what I'm saying? It's not one of those situations where there's no monetary consideration to take into effect here because he's not going to get the mid-level, which is at 9. He's not going to get a lengthy contract. He's only going to get a 1-year deal, and the likelihood is going to be somewhere for around the veteran minimum. So because of that reality, you don't have to take into account those financial considerations. It's just a matter of whether he wants to come to L.A. and whether Magic and LeBron think it's best for him to be there. That's all. It doesn't interfere with anything else you want to do if you're the Lakers, is my point.
And that's what I'm saying. So that seems like that's a real plausible issue because we don't have to give up nothing and we're not losing nothing.
But I'm asking you this, David. But David, I'm asking you this. If you're concerned about the closeness of his relationship with LeBron interfering with the camaraderie and the chemistry it's important for others to build with LeBron, that is something that you have to take into consideration before making that call. That's my point.
I understand that. But the other players that other players that's on the Lakers, they don't have no relations with LeBron. So wouldn't you think that LeBron would want somebody with the same?
David, with all due respect, you're being hard-headed. I'm telling you, that's why it matters. Because if you have Dwayne Wade there, it might get in the way of guys trying to cultivate a relationship with LeBron. LeBron is reaching out to everybody when one of his boys ain't there. But if one of his boys is there, he might not be so inclined. That's what you have to think about. I'm not saying that's definitive. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying it was in Cleveland and it can't be ignored. But I got to run. I appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We've been talking about the Lakers and the Knicks. Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard. The list goes on and on. Who better to talk about that and then some, particularly when James Harden says Houston didn't need to make any moves. We've got a championship contender. All of that and more to talk with next with my man Bill Plaschke of the Los Angeles Times. Wrote a great column the other day, by the way. He's up next with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, here with you over the airways of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80. My honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. He is the voice of Los Angeles, California, one of the great columnists in the United States of America. Extraordinary writer for the Los Angeles Times for many years. The one and only Bill Plaschke is on the line with yours truly right now. What's going on, Bill? How are you, buddy? How's everything?
What's going on, man? LeBron. Everybody's still talking about LeBron, man. It won't go away. Dodgers are doing great. Nobody's paying attention.
Well, you know that. And not only that, it also happens to be because the Dodgers started off so lousy. We're sitting there saying to them, okay, you haven't won a World Series since '88. What are you going to do? That might have something to do with it, Bill Plaschke. Might have something to do with it.
Well, here's the big question. I've been asking this question. Next October, okay? Next October, National League Division Series. Dodgers playing the Phillies. Dodgers up 2-0. The same night, LeBron makes his debut as a Laker. Which game do I go? Which game do my bosses send me to?
No, I got a better question than that, Bill Plaschke. Which game are you going to?
What's that?
Which game are you going to? Without your bosses and sisters, you know where you're going to be.
I know. I can't get it past you. I'm going. I got to go to LeBron. Go to LeBron.
I already know where I'm going to be open tonight. Bill Plaschke, before I even get into any of this, remind our audience out there, how long have you been writing for the Los Angeles Times?
31 years.
And how big is this move, LeBron coming to L.A.? How big is this in comparison to all the big, great stories you've covered in the history of Los Angeles, California?
It's the biggest acquisition in the history of Los Angeles sports. At this point, I mean, David Beckham, I got to tell you, David Beckham was pretty big when he came to the Galaxy, but there's nothing, Shaq coming to the Lakers, Kareem, nothing compares to this, because no player, he's the most famous athlete in the world. Or famous athlete in the United States anyway, and the most accomplished to come here, nothing. There's been no acquisition by any team in any sport that has matched this. Nothing's come even, no. I mean, there hasn't been anything close. I mean, everyone is talking about it.
And put in perspective what this move means, not just to Magic Johnson, but the Lakers franchise with the backdrop of the Genie Bus, Jim Bus, dysfunctional era that raked through this franchise for years. Put it in that perspective.
Oh, this is huge. It's huge for Jeannie Buss, because 14 months ago she said, I've had enough. She fired her own, people forget, she fired her own brother and said, I had enough, I'm putting in Magic Johnson. Everyone says, well, Magic's a great player, but can he pull it off as an executive? And remember, Stephen A., a lot of people out here have never seen Magic Johnson play. They have no idea how great he was as a player. They know him as a personality, and they were very dubious, saying, hey, can this personality be a basketball boss? Can Jeannie, in the wake of the death of her father, can Jeannie be a basketball owner? Well, this acquisition of LeBron James proved both to everyone out here. It's like they closed the deal. This is why Magic came here, to get a guy like LeBron James. This is why Jeannie was put in charge to hire a guy like Magic Johnson to get a guy like LeBron James. So this is huge. After 5 years of not being in the playoffs, this is huge for the Laker front office.
And isn't it fair? And isn't it fair that you and I are on the same page? Where I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me on this. If Jim Buss is still running the basketball operations, there's no way in hell that LeBron James is coming to L.A.
LaMarcus Aldridge took 2 meetings here, and it wouldn't, and it didn't work. Dwight Howard walked away. No, there's absolutely no way this would have happened. And Jeannie took a lot of flack because Jeannie, I mean, even I was saying, you know what, Jeannie, you hired Magic because she reminds you of your father, and she was close to your father, and you're just keeping it all in the family. You know what? She took a lot of flack when she made these moves. I mean, not a lot of flack to get rid of Jim, but people were questioning her. And yes, this would never have happened if she hadn't stepped up. And remember, they took her to court. She had to go to court to get this thing done. She had to literally go to the Superior Court in filings to get rid of Jim and Mitch Kupchak. And now look what's happened.
Wow. Bill Plaschke for the Los Angeles Times right here with Stephen A. on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. So with all of that being said, what are fair expectations for this Lakers franchise coming into the 2018-2019 season? Or what should be classified as fair by Los Angeles Laker fans everywhere, particularly in L.A.?
I know it's crazy. You think the biggest acquisition in L.A. sports history, we would say you got to win now. We're not saying that. We're saying you got to make the playoffs now. You got to win a playoff round now, and that's going to be good enough because we're thinking now that Magic's pulled this off, we're thinking he's going to pull off Kawhi next summer. He's going to pull off maybe Klay Thompson next summer. He'll pull off someone next summer that'll put them over the top. So it's kind of odd is that, no, LeBron does not have to win a championship this year. But, they damn sure got to get to the playoffs, and they got to win a playoff round and at least get into where they're playing Houston or Golden State to try to get to the conference finals, at least be competitive in that. That'll be enough for Laker fans. After a 5-year playoff drought, that'll be enough because everyone now, the next summer, that's when the expectations go high. That's when they go through the roof. This summer, next season, I think people will say, make the playoffs, be exciting, be competitive. We'll wait for the 2020 season.
Bill Plaschke, one of the things that I pointed out religiously or continuously rather leading into LeBron James ultimately making his decision to come to L.A. is that this was the best place for him because it alleviated some of the pressure in terms of going to 8 straight NBA finals. The expectations were finals or bust. Coming out to the Lakers, obviously that's not going to be the immediate expectation. But here's where the pressure does lie. Outside of Elgin Baylor, and you would know better than anybody, explain to me if I'm missing something. Outside of Elgin Baylor, every elite marquee talent that the Lakers franchise has ever had has delivered a chip to this franchise. So LeBron James can't be the guy that doesn't do it. And remember, Elgin Baylor retired midway through the season. The Lakers did win the title. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint that Kobe, Shaq, Magic, Kareem, Chamberlain, West, Mikan, everybody, any marquee guy that has worn the purple and gold, won a championship, and in a 4-year period, LeBron can't be the one that fails to do so.
Oh, no, you're exactly right about that. You're 100% correct. You asked about next season, but no, it's championship, but he's got to win at least one to get out of here with his stature intact. Because the fans, we have people here are very, again, they're going to give him a year, but that's all he's getting. Oh, absolutely. He's got to win a championship to be considered among the greats. And people are already cowering. I wrote a thing where I said, basically, he's the greatest basketball player to wear a Laker uniform. Now, he's not the greatest Laker, but right this moment, he's the greatest basketball player. But what about Kobe? What about Magic? What about Jerry West? Well, I'm talking about the greatest player to wear a uniform. But he'll never be a great Laker unless he wins a championship. You're absolutely right. And I think, again, that's 2 years down. Well, people are going to give him a year, but after that, all bets are off. He's got to produce. There's no question. And you know what? And no less than Kobe Bryant will be holding him to that exact same standard.
Bill Plaschke, one of the other things that I don't know if you heard me earlier in the show, but I got some news over the last 12 hours or so talking about Damian Lillard. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard has been the subject because the Los Angeles
they would
Lakers.
love Damian Lillard. He wants to come here.
That's right, but let me tell you what happened. What happened is we know that they've been pursuing Kawhi Leonard. Damian Lillard loves Portland, doesn't mind being in Portland, but there are concerns that they'll never be able to get better because they can't attract any free agents. So if he is willing to leave, and obviously he is, there's only 2 franchises that he'll consider, LA or New York, LA being the better option because of the pieces it has in place. Here's the question for Bill Plaschke. You're the columnist in this town, the ultimate voice in this town. If you're Bill Plaschke looking at these Los Angeles Lakers, should they continue to pursue Kawhi Leonard now, in your opinion, or do they wait until he's a free agent next summer, let him come there on his own, and now pursue and set your sights on trying to acquire Damian Lillard now? Or do you ignore Damian Lillard and continue to pursue Kawhi Leonard now? What do you suggest, Bill Plaschke?
All right, first off, you said he would like either L.A. or New York. There's never a comparison, Stephen A. There's no comparison between L.A. and New York. You always take L.A. for sports, always in every sport, everything. So, yeah, you would take L.A.
That's fine, but you don't have to rub it in. You don't have to rub it in, though.
Yes, I do. You and Frank Isola. Yes, I do. No, I would hold off on Kawhi. If you can get Damian Lillard, if you can get Dame, you've got to hold out for him. Absolutely. He would be the one. He's the one. He's the answer to LeBron's prayers. Kawhi would be great, but you can wait for a year and get him as a free agent. If you can get Lillard, if that's what you're reporting, and they got a shot to do that, I'm going to my computer and write that right now, because they got to do that. If that's a possibility.
Just to be clear, this is what I'm reporting. I'm reporting that I have heard Damian Lillard, obviously in a perfect world, will want to stay in Portland. His concern is their inability to get better, because no marquee free agents would want to come to Portland. So if Portland can't get better, there's only two destinations that he wants to go to. It would be the Lakers or it would be the Knicks, with the Lakers obviously being the front runners because of the pieces that they have to move for him, not to mention the fact that they have LeBron James. That is what I'm reporting.
Would Portland ever? We get back to the San Antonio issue. Portland even more hates the Lakers, even more than San Antonio.
That is true.
Would they make that trade? The Lakers
Portland doesn't
absolutely
want to. Portland does not want to. They don't want to lose them, but in the same breath, what they're saying is, how much better can they get? They've been in the playoffs 5 straight years. They've been bounced out in the first round 3 of those 5 years. And Damian Lillard and his camp is of the mindset they're very, very concerned about Portland's ability to attract free agents. So as a result, they would be open to a move to the Lakers or the Knicks. That is what I'm reporting.
Well, that's the move. If the Lakers have a chance to make that move, that is absolutely the move. That'll get them there a lot quicker. And then get Kawhi next summer. And then again, then that's how you fulfill LeBron James's mission, his mandate. It's his mandate to win a championship out here. That's how you fulfill that mandate. So yes, that's big news.
There we go. Bill Plaschke right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Here's the one I wanted to get back to with your column. You wrote a great column in yesterday's Los Angeles Times, I believe, actually the day before, where you were highlighting some of the issues that the Lakers have in terms of the individuals that they've decided to bring into their camp. Rondo, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Mr. Shaq and the Fool himself, JaVale McGee. You expressed real legitimate concerns about the individuals that Magic has chosen to surround LeBron James with. As you reflect on that column just 48 hours later, remind my audience of what you were trying to say and tell us how you feel about that now.
Oh, yeah, I still feel, and there was a great story in ESPN today that by Brian Rindhorst and Ramona Shelburne that outlined the basketball reasons they got these guys. I don't care. This is L.A. and Stephen A. I've seen you here. You're here a bunch. You're in the middle of it. You know how crazy it is here. L.A. brings out the crazy and the crazies. And I think that to put this locker room, with this young locker room, to put guys like Rondo and Stevenson and McGee in that environment, I think it could be toxic. I think it's really hard for Luke Walton to deal with. And I'm assuming LeBron signed off on all this, but LeBron again has never played in a market of this size and doesn't understand how his teammates can kind of go unnoticed in a place like Cleveland. They won't go unnoticed here, and they'll feed off the frenzy that's out here. And again, it just turns the crazy ones crazier. And I just think it's a very difficult situation. It's going to be very interesting to see how they handle it. I think they're taking on a lot here, and I think they're really taking on a lot with this. I know there's basketball reasons. These guys are two-way players. They're competitors. They play both ends of the court. They can give LeBron a break. I'm not so sure that's going to override the personnel reasons and the chemistry issues that happen out here. Well, again, this is where LeVar Ball's involved in this every day, for one thing. So this is crazy town out here. You know that.
And I was getting ready to get into it. I was going to bring up LeVar Ball because he's made news again, talking about how Lonzo will make LeBron better and vice versa, and all of this other stuff. And obviously, if you're talking about
Stephen A., one thing you can't tell me. I want to see if you agree with me on this, that the torn meniscus was leaked to keep him from getting traded.
I believe
in my opinion.
I don't know that.
I believe that.
I don't know it, but
I don't know
I'm with
it either.
you. I believe it. I don't know it, but I believe it because I believe
that's how they work.
That's how he works, no question about it. I definitely believe that, but I would also tell you this. If you're talking about Damian Lillard and the possibility of him being in Los Angeles, if you're the Lakers, Lonzo would have to be a part of that deal. You can't have Rondo in here and then bring a Damian Lillard and keep a Lonzo Ball. You know that.
Well, I think they'd like to trade Lonzo anyway. I know most of them would like to get him out of here. I mean, let's face it.
Because of his dad?
He's a developing player. He's a young guy. Just because of all the baggage, his dad, his build. Not so much his dad's a hassle. A bigger distraction is he's they see how slightly built he is. He's frail. He wasn't, and he has not gotten bigger. I don't know his dad's gotten bigger. See if he's gotten tougher. He can't really, can he withstand the rigors of an NBA season, the whole season? I don't know that. And they were struck by how physically small he is and how he got battered around. And I don't know if that bodes well for the future. Plus, again, he's not going to fix his shot. He's not changing his shot. So I think a lot of them would say, Lonzo's kind of run roughshod over this organization for last year. I think there's a lot of people in that organization that would say, you know what, if somebody will take him, let's just get him and move on. And again, who knows how LeBron's even going to work with him.
Interesting question.
I think that's not an issue.
Bill Pulaski, interesting question to throw your way. LeVar Ball gets so much attention and so much blame when it comes to the issues surrounding his son in a Lakers uniform. How much culpability do you put on the shoulders of Lonzo himself? Not just in terms of his play on the court, but his father's, loquacious tendencies or some of the things that have been said, attitude-wise, whatever the case may be. Is Lonzo himself well-liked, as far as you know, as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, by the Lakers organization?
Very well-liked. But how much culpability do you have? That's a good point. Remember what he said last year? When the father said Luke Walton had lost the locker room,
yes.
And went to Lonzo, and Lonzo, all he said was, I can play for anybody. That was a damning statement. And I think the Lakers, they're thinking he's still young, and he's under his father's thumb, and when he gets more empowered and more mature, he will realize his father is wacko, and he will separate himself from his father's statements. So I think, he'll go. He's very well liked. He's very quiet. He doesn't make any noise. He doesn't make any rumblings at all. But I think that the issue is, will he go against his dad when his dad's trying to infect that locker room and go after Luke Walton? He did not take up for the Lakers last year, and I think that bothered them. But I think they still think he's only 19 or 20. He's going to mature and grow up and become his own man. They're waiting for him to become his own man. Will he do that as a Laker? I don't know. So, no, generally he's a really good kid. And you know that. You've talked to him. He's a really good kid. Yeah. But his dad is just such an overpowering influence in his life. He can't seem to get those broad shoulders to shrug him off, which could hurt the Lakers moving forward. They need to see those broad shoulders this year.
Bill Pulaski for the Los Angeles Times, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. When I look at Magic Johnson right now, Magic Johnson has labeled Kyle Kuzma untouchable, according to numerous reports, from myself included. Do you think Kyle Kuzma should be untouchable at this juncture?
No. I mean, not for Kawhi. Nope. I think they won 35 games last year. That's all I'm going to say. If Kyle Kuzma's developing, again, like all of them, a great young player, we don't know what his potential is. Kawhi Leonard, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, we're not going to go over this. We rehash this ad nauseum. No, I don't think any of those kids should be untouchable. When it comes to getting a guy like Kawhi Leonard, I don't think so. And I just think that with that, I think you stymie yourself. And now we have LeBron, makes him even less untouchable. You want to win now. Like we just said, the next 3 years, they've gone from 5 years of no playoffs to, if they don't win a championship in the next 3 or 4 years, it's been a failure. That's how quickly.
Yeah, but Bill, I got to tell you where I disagree with you. I got to tell you where I disagree with you. If I'm offering Brandon Ingram, and I'm offering Hart, and I'm offering a couple of first-round picks, I'm not giving up Kuzma too. I'm not giving up Kuzma too. I'm not doing that.
They won't, but they won't take that. You know they're not going to take that. They got to have that. It's got to be. From my understanding, it's got to be Bi and Kuz, and that's my understanding. And I'm just saying, I love Kuz. I think, I love him just as much as Magic does. But I just think you have to think that the window is now been set. It's a 3-year window. It's not a 5-year plan anymore. It's a 3-year plan. And LeBron's going to, he's not getting any younger, and you got to go for it now. And if you get a chance to get this guy, I'm sorry. I just think, again, I know a lot of Laker fans fell in love with these guys. They won 35 games, Stephen A. 35 games, okay? And they're rookies, and they're getting better, but they won 35 games. They didn't like we're talking about trading Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Are you?
And I know it sounds harsh, but that's the reality of it out
Bill
here.
Plaschke, are you of the mindset that the Los Angeles Lakers absolutely positively have to acquire Kawhi Leonard in order to win a championship, even if they went out and got somebody like a Damian Lillard?
Yes, I think you need a big three. He'd be the third, yes. And I think after this is, and I hate to put more pressure on Magic after I put all this pressure on him before, but after after Paul George didn't show up here, and now we have another player who wants to show up here, and he can show up here next year. They got to close that deal. If they don't trade for him, they got to close that deal for him. Yes, I think absolutely they need three. I think they can't take a chance again. They got the greatest player in the world, can win a championship for the biggest sports city in the world, entertainment. They got to do it now. No, so I think so. Yes, I think they cannot back off. They cannot back off, and that's what bothered me about these crazy signings. Is that they suddenly seem to momentarily lose their minds. They got to keep focused on getting the big three, getting Kawhi. Now, if you can get Lillard, get Lillard. Are you kidding me?
Last question: over the next 4 years, 3 to 4 years. Who has more pressure on them to win for the Los Angeles Lakers, win a championship? Is it LeBron or is it Magic?
Oh, it's LeBron now. Magic's done. Magic got the best player in the world to come here. Magic, you know what? I would even go so far as to say Magic could actually get next summer. He gets Kawhi, he gets Lillard, something like that. It's a big three. He can wash his hands and say, "I'm done doing this basketball thing." Right? I mean, can you see that happening? I can actually see that happening.
If they win the championship within the next 3 years, Magic can walk away from the Los Angeles Lakers and say, "I've done my job. Y'all enjoy your lives."
Yes, and I think he's already done his. I think he's already done his job. Now again, now it's on LeBron. LeBron's the one who attracts players. By getting LeBron, you're getting a free agent magnet. So LeBron's the one that attracts the players. Heck, we know LeBron coaches the team and runs the team anyway. Now he's pretty much passed it over to LeBron. Magic, and now as the fans out here, he's made his bones as a basketball executive. He's Magic Johnson all over again.
What do you make of the fact that LeBron James and Luke Walton, according to reports, have not spoken once, and he has not reached out to Luke Walton?
I don't like it. I said that in my column. Heaven help Luke Walton. I love him, and he's done a good job out here, and he handled Julius Randle well. And he's great for young players, and he did great in Golden State. He's going to be a great coach in this league. I don't like it that they seem to be hiring guys. They sign guys that could give him trouble. And he and LeBron, he played for Cavs, but LeBron was gone then. Those are bad Cavs.
I got you.
I don't like it. I mean, what do you think? I think it portends. I think that's an issue. I think that becomes an issue.
I don't like it either, but I would be more worried about it if LeBron James had a good relationship with Phil Jackson, because I don't think it would be beyond the realm of comprehension if that genie would bring back Phil Jackson. But because wait a minute. But because LeBron isn't particularly fond of Phil Jackson, you know what? I'm going to say no. But then again, LeBron did speak to Kobe. Kobe was just on the show the other day. He said that he did speak to LeBron during the playoffs, and that he welcomed LeBron to the family. And it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that Kobe Bryant said, "You know what? I forgave Phil after he threw me under the bus in his damn book. I forgave him, came back, and we won championships. That might be the way to go." But I kind of like the job Luke Walton is doing.
Dear God, are you talking?
I like the job Luke Walton is doing.
Oh, I think Luke's doing a great job, and I worry for him. Because I'm with him. I think he's doing a tremendous job, and they need him, and he can be a championship coach. Absolutely, if LeBron will give him a chance. And good Lord, you're starting these Phil Jackson rumors. You're unbelievable, Stephen.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. It's not a rumor. I didn't say anything. I'm just saying that anything is not beyond the realm of comprehension. Are you denying that, Bill Plaschke?
No, I am not denying that. I am absolutely not denying that. You are right. He could be the head coach by the All-Star break of this team. The way things are, again, this is welcome to Crazy Town. That's L.A. That's why I love it. That's why you love it.
There you go. Thanks a lot, buddy. I'll see you down the road, man. You take it easy, buddy.
Take care.
All right. The one and only Bill Plaschke for the Los Angeles Times right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Look, I'm not starting anything. It's just not the realm of comprehension. I'm supposed to trust that Jeannie Buss is, oh, Luke, I love you, and you're not going anywhere, and you're going to be our coach for years to come. Even though Magic and Rob Pelinka never hired Luke Walton, he was hired by Jim Buss. I'm supposed to assume that he's safe? If Kobe Bryant could change his mind on Phil after Phil threw him under the bus with that damn book of his, profiting off of insulting Kobe, and Kobe could forgive him, and I'm telling you right now, Kobe don't have the most forgiving soul in the world now. Kobe forgave him because he put a championship and championships ahead of all that other stuff. If Kobe could do that, you trying to tell me LeBron can't? When LeBron has never been coached by Phil, and he's never had any interaction with Phil other than on Twitter, because Phil referred to his boys as a posse, which is very insulting to LeBron and Maverick Carter and Rich Paul and those boys. LeBron James is the same dude that forgave Dan Gilbert enough to do business with him. You think he couldn't do that for Phil? Especially if he ain't happy with Luke Walton? I'm not spreading a rumor. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying. The possibilities are there. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Before I get back to the phones, Jeff Van Gundy, again, was on Golick and Wingo's show this morning. And the subject of a salary cap came into question in regards to these players' salaries, some of the money that they're receiving and what have you. And Jeff Van Gundy, former head coach for the New York Knicks, former head coach for the Houston Rockets, now a basketball analyst and commentator extraordinaire for ESPN and ABC. He was on Golick and Wingo this morning, and he talked about what the NBA should implement. Listen to this.
I've always been in favor of a hard cap because I think it would disperse the talent throughout the league. If there was a hard cap and add into that no set maximum salary for any individual player. So to me, the stars of stars in our league, for how they drive the business, are relatively underpaid.
I don't disagree with Jeff Van Gundy there. Now, let's be clear about what he's saying. Jeff Van Gundy is not for capping what amount of money a marquee box office star player can get per se, because he recognizes the fact that they drive the business. And because they drive the business and they're the revenue generators of the sport, he's not advocating limiting their marketability or their monetary value. What he's saying, however, is that by instituting a hard salary cap, one individual team can't turn around and, let's say, for example, if you're Los Angeles, or you're the billionaire in Portland, or the billionaire in LA in Baltimore, or the billionaire in New York in James Dolan, that you don't get to sit up there and say, okay, I'm willing to pay an exorbitant luxury tax just to make sure I get these stars. What Jeff Van Gundy is advocating is that by having a hard salary cap, you basically ensure that talent is going to disperse throughout the NBA. So Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Boogie Cousins can't all be on the same team if they expect to get their money. You're going to have to go elsewhere if you're two or three of those guys. LeBron James, D. Wade, and Bosh don't get to show up in Miami. You're going to have to get elsewhere to pay three of those guys. LeBron James and two other stars don't get to descend upon L.A. You're going to have to go elsewhere. What he's talking about is ensuring that the talent is dispersed. And the only way to pull that off is a hard cap. See, when a lot of times when we think about a hard salary cap, we're talking about limiting player dollars. He's not advocating that. He's advocating that it's dispersed throughout the league. In other words, everybody got to pay the same amount of money. It's just that everybody doesn't get to pile up on one team. You can pull that off. I like it. Doesn't bother me at all. Let's go to Patrick. You're live with Stephen A. Go ahead.
Hey, Stephen. Thanks for taking the call.
Go ahead, man.
2 points I'd like to make. San Antonio Spurs fan down in New Orleans. One is I haven't heard a whole lot of talk about Kawhi's ability to fully come back from this tendinopathy that he's had.
Nobody knows.
That would be my hesitation to give
Nobody
him
knows.
the Supermax.
All right, go ahead.
Secondly is the ability for L.A. to improve somebody's marketability didn't just happen in 2018. It's been like that for decades. I think Kawhi's uncle is using this tendinopathy to kind of hide behind the fact that they were probably going to jet next year anyway for the big marketability, and he may have done
Stop right there. Stop right there. You're wrong. He's not hiding or disguising anything. They've made it very clear that they intend to leave next year. They're just trying to expedite the process now. But they made it very clear they're leaving next season. But they're trying to expedite the process now.
Diagnosis.
Excuse me?
I said it sounds like this didn't just come about until this whole misdiagnosis with the tendinopathy. I hadn't heard L.A. before this tendinopathy issue.
Because L.A. had to prioritize going after LeBron James. That's why you didn't hear about it.
So you're saying as of a year ago, Kawhi was already announcing that he wanted to depart for L.A.
I'm saying
at the end of his contract?
I'm saying that as of a year ago, L.A. knew that Kawhi wanted to be there. That's what I'm saying. It just wasn't publicized because the priority was getting LeBron. But I got to run. I appreciate the call. Mike, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Mike, go ahead.
Stephen A., what's good, baby?
I'm all right. Go ahead, man.
You would punch me in my face for this blasphemy that's about to come out of my mouth.
Well, I already want to hang up on you because you've wasted 20 seconds teasing when callers are waiting. Get to your point. It's my show. It's not yours. Hurry up. Let's go.
If Kobe Bryant came back to the Lakers and he knocked on Magic's door and said, I'm back, does he take him in to be able to play with LeBron?
Yes, but Kobe Bryant would never do that because Kobe Bryant put in 20 years. Physically, he's not there any longer, and he's moved on to bigger and better things. Kobe Bryant is now an Academy Award winner. Plus, he's creating new content all over the place. Plus, he's coming out with a book in the fall. Kobe Bryant has moved on from his playing days. It's that simple. Wishful thinking, though. Appreciate the call. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Your calls to close out the show with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio in a minute.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's get to it. Let's go to Keith in L.A. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Stephen A., my man. I think you need to talk to ESPN and have them get you one of them condos right across from LA Live, and you just need to come here, man. When we spoke 2 weeks ago, I specifically related to you that I believe they're going to bring back Phil Jackson because you can't have a legacy player coming back to a legacy team and not have a legacy coach. And now we got into your spirit.
Time out. You can't say the word can't. And the reason why you can't say the word can't is because LeBron James in Cleveland didn't have Pat Riley. He had Eric Spoelstra. In Miami. In Cleveland, he had David Blatt. Then after that, he had Tyronn Lue. Prior to that, he had Mike Brown. So it would be best, but you can't say they can't because it's happened.
Okay, but what I'm saying is your guy just told you from L.A., it's the Laker culture. We demand that. We demand greatness. We demand perfection.
Okay. Well, you haven't had it in the last 5 years.
Get it, Stephen A., and I'm glad I spoke about it 2 weeks ago because now it got into your spirit, and you just brung it up. So just look for it to happen.
Well, I'm saying, I don't know if I want it to, though. Because to be quite honest with you, Phil Jackson has really, his luster has really dulled. I know I was as an executive, not as a coach, but the job he did in New York has done incredible damage to his reputation. It really, really has. And I don't know if it's the same Phil Jackson as we had before. I really don't. But that's something to consider. And Keith, you do deserve credit because you did call a couple of weeks ago and mention that. So I'll give you love on that one, bro. Thanks a lot for the call. Joe in Jersey, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. I was wondering, do you think the moves like adding Lance Stevenson and Rondo is good for LeBron because he technically, I mean, like he's better with shooter?
To me, it's not about whether it's good for them or not. It's about whether or not they're limited to that. I don't like the moves if that's all they do. But if the Lakers go out and get another shooter or two, I don't mind. But they need shooters, and those guys are not it. That's not enough. Appreciate the call. Kyle in Florida, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Thank you, Stephen A. Real quick, I think the Lakers should, if they're a year away, what do you think about them trying to unload some players and picks and try to get Anthony Davis away from New Orleans? I know he's signed for a little bit.
Listen. First of all, I don't know if you have enough. Anthony Davis is a top 3 player on the planet. And unless this brother is telling you, I don't want to be in New Orleans. New Orleans kick rocks. I can't stand y'all. I don't want to be a part of y'all anymore. Like Kawhi Leonard appears to be telling the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know if you could get an Anthony Davis. Anybody should want Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is so big time. If I were the Lakers and I had a chance to get Anthony Davis instead of LeBron James, I would have done that because Anthony Davis has a longer upside. That's how big time Anthony Davis is. That's how big time he is. So that's where I'm at with it.
That's why I think they should unload some players and try to get them next year.
Now, I will tell you this. I told you I think that Kuzma, like they say Kuzma's untouchable. I'll tell you this much. I would give up Kuzma and everybody else but LeBron James for Anthony Davis. Without question. Without question. Appreciate the call. Chris, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Chris, go ahead.
Real quick, Stephen A. Regarding the Damian Lillard coming to the Lakers, I think that's a big no-no for us Lakers. I think we go after Kawhi because, number one, you need the versatility to go up against Golden State because everyone's trying to take them down. And number two, you need the personalities to fit.
Stop right there. Stop right there, Chris. Here's the problem with your argument. You're not saying Damian Lillard instead of Kawhi, period. You're saying Damian Lillard instead of Kawhi because Kawhi is free to come to L.A. in a year without you having to give up any assets since he's already made it clear he wants to come to L.A. You're not saying I only could trade for one or the other and I choose this one to trade because I don't want the other. You're saying you trade for Damian Lillard because he's locked in for the next 3 years, whereas Kawhi's only locked in for one more before he's free to come to L.A. without you giving up any assets. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, I was just asking the question. I thought you posed the question, which one would you rather have? I was just answering your question regarding that. But as far as LeBron, you know what's funny, Stephen A? You know what's the first thing I thought about when LeBron decided to come here and play for the Lakers? How bad I felt for Dwayne Casey, man, because this could have been a year Toronto would maybe be able to get out of the East now that he's not here. But now he's in Detroit, so I just thought that was something that was funny.
I understand. I got to run, man. I appreciate the call. That's a good point because if LeBron James was not in Cleveland standing in the Toronto Raptors' way, Dwayne Casey may still be the head coach of Toronto instead of the new coach of the Detroit Pistons. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all in 22 hours from now. Thanks again to Bill Plaschke of the LA Times. Until 22 hours from now, peace and love. Stephen A. signing off.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.